everyone, welcome back to part 6. Now, I said that part 6 would definitely be the last one, but I don't think it will be. I think we've got one more left in us just to get it over the line. I'd just like to say thank you to everyone who's subscribed and everyone who's given me a thumbs up, and for your wonderful comments. So here we go, part 6, not the last one. Fretting is really where the guitar maker, as opposed to a factory, can actually excel, because in a factory they'll just get a cursory level and shine and that'll be it, but we can really go to town a little bit on it as a luthier and make the frets really shine and do a really nice job. So tape it up. I'm putting a blue line on top of each fret, not on the side, just on the very top, because all I want to do is take the minimum off possible. Oh, look at that, straight away. Well, I did make it flat, so I shouldn't be surprised that it actually is flat, but I kind of am. This is my 16-inch radius. So we'll just stick that on top of there and see how we do. Just a little... Normally I put this in a vise. I just want to see what's going on. Yeah, I can see points of contact here. I'm just going to check that flatness again. Yeah, it does seem to be about right. So I've just got this clamped on here, and the next thing I'm going to do is just do a few strokes across it, see if I can do some. Yeah, you can see we're already through a lot of the blue. We just keep sanding with the beam until all the blue bits are gone. So the next thing to do is to put the point back on, because we've flattened them off. I'm using what's called a Z-file from StewMac. I'm not a huge fan of StewMac because I think they're a bit expensive. These are great because they've actually got diamond dust in them, so they really cut. The old-fashioned one was just a hardened steel, I guess, tempered steel, I don't know. And I shaped them with that, but this was quite hard work. So blue tips, there's nice flat blue, lovely. See how that goes. You don't need to press particularly hard with these diamond ones. In fact, you don't need to press hard at all. The diamonds do the work. I think if you press, all you do is you just make your hands ache. It's tempting to push harder, but it doesn't work any better. I use little abrasive pads. You can get these on Amazon. They're not expensive. You get a whole range, maybe 8 or so. And I basically work from the roughest down to the smoothest, paying particular attention to the edges, because the edges, you can catch your fingers. And I've made mistakes in the past where I've left too much sharpness on the edge of frets. And there's a lot of guitars I'd like to get back and refinish on the edges, because just recently I've realised that rolling the edges carefully and getting that nice and smooth is a real key to guitar playability. This is quite abrasive. You can take quite a lot off. You don't want to obviously ruin your flatness, but you can get rid of those edges, you can get rid of the marks, you can get rid of any digs and scuffs you've got there. And then once you've got it there with the rougher pads, just move on to the finer pads, and you don't need to spend half as much time as you do with this pad, the rough one. With the finer ones, you're literally working down to the very fine ones until they really shine. A lot of the people then finish them off with 000 wire wool. And you know, people use Dremels and Jeweler's Rouge, which is a sort of paste, a waxy paste on a Dremel to shine them up. There are no end of videos on YouTube about how to do that, and I just have my own method. I'm going to crack on. There's probably more videos on eBay about fretting than there are grains of sand on all the beaches of all the world, but there's still something we're missing. Probably the last piece of woodwork is one of these. It needs a wooden bridge. I found half of one. I found this bottom bit like that, literally on eBay for 70 quid for an original Harmony half a bridge. And I don't think that's great value, seeing as this is like 45 minutes work, if that. you know, just carve it. I mean, if you can see it, you can touch it, you can feel it, you can generally make it. I found some rosewood, and it was like £4 for a piece of rosewood, and I thought, it's a bit expensive for a bit of wood, you know, just a little about a foot long, or maybe, you know, 20, 30 centimetres worth of rosewood. And so it turned out. Yeah, it turned out that the £4 was for 4 pieces. There's a really nice variety of shapes and textures, and I'm actually quite tempted to, rather than go for something which is quite uniform, I'm quite tempted to go for something that's got a little bit more character in it than this, maybe. It'll probably be a nightmare to work with, but let's give it a go. I think we should start with this, and if it all screws up, we'll just throw it away and pick up one of the other 7 bits I've got. So let's make one of these. I'm not great with rulers. I feel that a lot of the time you just need to sort of look at things and mark them up with a pencil. I don't really need to know what this dimension is. I just need to make it roughly this dimension to begin with, and preferably a little bit bigger. So that's roughly to dimension. It's oversized, but I'm going to take a bit off the top, not too much. I'm actually going to leave it too big on the top. The width is the same. I've got problems here, I can see. It's actually got divots in it, so I'm going to have to cut these divots out. So it's actually going to be quite tight in the end. This may not work. I'll be pretty much at the dimensions, or pretty much at the size of this, just by taking these channels out. And I'll be left with this nice bit of characterful wood, which I can then work with. Right, yeah, we're still way oversized on this, so that's good. I don't want to go any closer than this. This is going to be our stock. Next thing to do, I think, is to just clean this up. I clean up as I go along. I just find it's much easier and much more. You can see the wood for the trees, literally, if you clean up the wood as you go along, rather than working on rough stock and trying to rough shape it and trying to do nice accurate cuts on a piece of bumpy wood. It's not possible. So we just stick this on a belt sander and just clean it up a bit. Yeah. Now that I can work with. Nice characterful piece of wood. I'm so glad I chose this. Going to avoid, there's a little hole there. Hopefully I can avoid that, because I'm actually going to bring this to a point. So it's actually going to end up, you know, with a hat on. I'll chop this piece off of here and then stick it back together. I think I'll put the holes in it for the adjusters. We'll have it basically made, and then it'll just be the nice bit, the carving and the shaping bit. I've already had this on a guitar, so I know that where these posts are perfect for my string spacing. So all I'm going to do is transfer as many of these dimensions across as makes sense. The height's good, but for now I think what we need to do is to cut the base off of it. But before we do that, we want to drill these 2 holes on the top for the adjustment posts. So that's about in the middle. So let's just take that line to there, and that line to there. So now we've got that. Cool. There we go. All marked up. And then a centre line, which I'm just going to guess. I know. And again. I'm very good at guessing centre. I don't feel the need to go mathematical on this either. So there you go. Pretty sure that's in the centre. So I'm going to drill there and drill there. I've marked the depth with a piece of tape, and I think we just better go at it. Sorted. We're drilled. Next thing I want to do is I just take that base off. It's about 6 to 8 millimeters, something like that at the base. So there it is. Holes in the top all the way through. I'm going to clean that up, stick it back together, and work on it as one thing. We do that with 2 strips of tape and some super glue, or you can use double-sided tape. I think I'll use double-sided. No, I think I'll use this is a bit stronger, so I think I'll use that. Stuck. And as suspected, because this wood is really ripply, it doesn't actually carve terribly well. This is the choices we make. No, it's not so bad in that direction. Yeah, so I've drawn myself a centre line down there, and I'm just going to plane most of the material off each side using my wonderful pattern maker's vise. I watched at college as people chose wood to make their guitars out of, and people always used to rush in and go for the burly, swirly patterns, and I picked up the blandest piece of wood in the pile. And I watched these people trying to flatten them, trying to scrape them, trying to plane them for days, and I sniggered. I think we'll do this on a belt sander. So there we have it. I'm now going to take these bits off. I've got the shape how I want it. I think I might just chisel this off to get this, and then actually I might just do this. Yeah, we're very nearly there. So I took these scallops out on the belt sander, but I also used the bobbin sander just now just to make them a little bit more precise. And now I'm just going to round off the edges a little bit, just make it look a little bit more sweet. But I need to curve the top, and I want to do that at exactly the right radius, which is 16 inches, just like the fingerboard. So that all keeps the same radius. 16-inch radius in beam. Fortunately, it just fits in the little screw holes, and I'm just going to go backwards and forwards, nice and gently. Keep checking it. Oh yes, and blimey, that got there really quickly. Yeah, that's now touching the top. So we are radiused as quickly as that. Right, just a few strokes, and there's a nice 16-inch radius on that, which hopefully will keep everything nice and true. Right, that's good. take it apart. Oh, that was way easier than I thought it was going to be. Okay, there we go. Our 2 pieces of bridge. The only thing we need to do now is to cut the little slots in the top so that the thumb wheels sit nice and snug. That'll be fun. Well, that, as we know, wasn't the easy wood, and cutting the slots was a nightmare because you couldn't go across the grain, you couldn't go up and down the grain, so eventually I ended up sawing little bits of it off and then joining up the little saw divots. But eventually we did it. We have a bridge, and I have to say, even though I always said, you know, I said before, use the easy woods, this was a difficult wood because the grain here was going all over the place. I have to say that looks just lovely. I loved making that bridge. Okay, that's part 6. Part 7 will be the last one. Please subscribe and I'll see you soon.